Yeah, that's my intro music. I haven't really decided to put any in, but if you want some, I can beatbox. Anyway, welcome to Mike's Opinion, and I am Mike. And this is all my opinion, so don't get your panties in a wad. I'm here to share my unique opinion, but isn't everyone's opinion unique? Because you're you and I'm me, so yeah. However, that being said, if you've listened to any other episodes, I guess I should do a formal intro. I may put one as raggedy. I may just throw all of it up and see what happens, but I'm a unique individual, stand out from the rest, high IQ, skip from 3rd to 5th grade, yada, 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 yada. And that was in parochial school, by the way. Been called different by many and most. So anyway, I have something to say. So when you listen to these episodes, that's why I'm doing this. Not looking for fame. Fortune would be nice, but I don't know that this is going to lead to that. But today's topic, and by the way, today is February 7th, 2020. Excuse me. Yeah, 2020. And today's topic is death. Oh, how many people turned away? Because in America, which I am an American, live in America, we don't want to talk about death. We don't want to talk about death. But what really made me think about doing a podcast about death was, of course, Kobe Bryant, his daughter Gigi, and the other 7 people, I believe, that were on that helicopter. And I apologize for not knowing their names because they may have been famous or semi-famous. But of course, the standout, the most famous person on that helicopter, was Kobe Bryant. And I just want to formally say, rest in peace, my brother. Rest in peace, because it was a reminder to me and to everyone, most likely, that you'll never know when you're going to go, And there are literally thousands of people that die every day on a daily from a whole host of things. Disease, accidents, old age, we're all going to go. Your pets, little cat, dog, iguana, gerbil, we are all going to go. I have several philosophies about or hypothesis, what happens after we die. But I did want to talk about death. For those of you who've been living on a rock and don't know, Kobe Bryant, world famous, definitely famous in America, professional basketball player, 41 years old, on a helicopter flight with his daughter and 7 other people. Foggy conditions in California contributed greatly to what seems to be pilot error, perhaps. And there was a horrible fatal crash. Everyone died. And it's sad and tragic because when you think of like a Kobe Bryant, right? Rich, tall, handsome, multilingual, speaks Italian, and didn't let retirement ruin him like it does so many professional athletes. They don't know what to do with their life. And I'll come back to that in a second, but, accomplished, pretty sure had mansions and property and can take helicopter rides on the regular, and boom. And then your life ends just like that. And it was unexpected because you think at 41, he's a professional athlete. He's probably going to live to 100, right? He's got at least another 40, another 41. So, again, rest in peace. God bless you and your family. I mean that from my heart. There's no answers to, I think his wife's name is Juanita, and forgive me if I'm wrong about any of these statistics or names. But how do you go on, right? You have to. You have other children, and I'm pretty sure that's what Kobe would want. Kobe would want his wife and remaining children to, of course, grieve, but to go on, to live, to continue to live. And all I can tell you is the only thing I know that can remedy that pain, having suffered loss of people dear and, near to me, loved ones. The only thing that can, and it won't heal the pain, it just makes it more livable, and that's time. There's nothing anybody can say, nothing anybody that can give you. There's no remedy. There's no alcohol, drugs, books, meditation. There's nothing that can stop that pain. The only thing that time does is make it more bearable, because it's literally feels unbearable, especially when it happens instantly. But time, you learn to live again. Who knows? Maybe even to love again. But I know Kobe's shoes, big shoes to fill. You know how you follow that, right? So once again, my thoughts and prayers. I hate saying that. I hate hearing it. It's so cliche. But my heart goes to you. I wish you can feel my energy and know, and I wish it would comfort you and just hold you. I can't say make the time speed up, because time doesn't speed up. Going back to just real quick to touching about on other athletes. I get it, right? That's all you've been doing since you was little, was balling. You reach a certain level, collegiate level, professional level, and then something happens, whether it's an injury or retirement, or maybe you get kicked out for doing something crazy. But anyway, it stops, right? The accolades, the cheering, the performance stops. And each one, and I've known some personally that have reached high levels and they're ruined to a certain degree. They don't know what else to do. One example, and I've heard this several places, and I don't know the brother, never met the brother, but it's Michael Jordan. All I can do is tell you what I see. Okay, like with Kobe, I saw him, I wasn't a follower. I'm not a fan dude, right? So I don't follow people and all that. But I read the news. I read a lot every day. I ingest a lot of information. I'll come across stuff about Kobe. He's into his family. He looks happy and healthy, or he looked happy and healthy. And then I see pictures of Michael Jordan, and, things will pop up what he's doing. He looks swollen. And every time I see him, he's got a drink in his hand or a cigar. And I'm like, hey, this is like Mike's opinion. This is my opinion. I'm not here to judge you. All I'm saying is this is what I see, right? You don't look necessarily that happy to me. And if happiness is found in a cigar and alcohol, then do you, my brother. Do you. When I see a person like Michael Jordan and his influence around the world, especially with his sneakers, Jordans, and with his play, I'm old enough to have seen him play, and remarkable talent on the basketball court. It seems to have some business acumen. And, the Jordan thing is, the Jordan brand is still alive. People got to have those Jordans, right? So, but I don't know what you're doing. Maybe every time I see those pictures, I don't know what you do every day, but maybe you party every day. Maybe you don't. I know you married some white chick, and I'm not here to judge. I'm not a racist. I've lived with white chicks. I've romanced white chicks. I've been in love with white chicks in my past. So, I'm just saying she is white is my understanding. But, it just seems like you could be doing something better. You could be contributing more. But I'll have podcasts on other black people that I think could be doing more. Anyway, death. So, religious people, or let me say different religions, like I believe in India, they believe in reincarnation, and they have many gods. I believe a part of that is true. Christians, they believe in a physical heaven and hell. Now, I went to parochial school, Catholic school. I was altar boy briefly, and Catholicism, there's a lot wrong with it as well. But, a lot of contradictions just to me, but, and the variety of religions. The Muslim religion is, I think, one of the biggest, if not the biggest on the planet. You get the virgins and you can't eat pork, and they believe in, the wives or females are definitely subservient. I'm going to be doing a podcast on women that you probably do not want to miss. If you're into me, if you like my opinion, if I make you laugh or make you angry or, make you sad, hopefully not. If I make you feel, you're going to want to hear that. So, but these religions, right? Organized religions, I've stepped away from. Now, when it comes to death, from a physical standpoint, I think it's been proven that when you die, at the moment you die, it's like 2.3 grams or 23 grams. You lose 23 grams, and it's not all attributed to air leaving your body. So what is it? What is it? What could it be? Some people say it's the soul. Surely you've heard of near-death experiences where people have died for a short period of time and then come back. And they've come back to testify that they were above their body. They can see and hear everything what's going on, even come back to quote. There's some fantastic stories out there. And once again, here on Mike's Opinion, I beg you, do your own research. You have the internet, so you can search. There's various search engines, one very popular one. So here's my thing. This is what I believe. Now, the brightness in your eyes, behind your eyes, they say the eyes are the windows to the soul. There's an energy within us. And perhaps that's why it takes an electrical shock to revive us when our heart stops. I think the Mayans believed, they eat your heart. They can eat your energy per se. They did a lot of human sacrifices. Man, we are barbaric humans, man. Just historically and currently, something's wrong with us. When you die, what happens? What really, really happens? Is there a void? I mean, does everything just stop? Perhaps, perhaps not. I believe not, and it's based on this. Once again, like I said, it takes an electrical impulse to start you. A lot of people, a lot of science says that this is a contained planet, and we're just energy. Energy just moves from one location to another. So, and there's a bunch of science behind this. I can quote you this and that, but once again, do the research. But your energy doesn't disperse. It doesn't end. Your physical being ends. Now, there are those that are devout and refuse to question what was beat into them, and not literally, figuratively beat into them, into their mind. They're not supposed to question. Not supposed to question the Bible, the Quran, the Ichi. If you were raised on those things, don't you question it. The mere question it is a sin. So, I believe there has to be a creator, right? So, if he created this contained blue marble that we're on, and no energy can escape it, then the energy goes somewhere. And a lot of people say that that's what the reincarnation is. Reincarnation stories are out there, some really impressive ones. I go back to India when I think about one. I read a story, I don't know how many years, a decade or so ago. And summarily speaking, there was a boy who had a mark on his head, and he kept telling his parents that he was this person by name. He said, I was this person. As he got older, this happened for, since he could start speaking, and well into his 5 or 6, 7 years old, until the point where the parents researched it. And it turns out this boy was, and I can't recall if it was conceived or born, But it was one of the two. He was either conceived, which is hard to know. We can definitely know exactly when you were born. But I'll get back to that conception thing in a minute. But let's say when he was born, at the same time that this criminal died, and he died by being shot or stabbed, or he had that head trauma and had the same scar. And it turned out everything this little boy was saying was who this man was. And this was like beyond a shadow of a doubt. I mean, they had been recording this kid, logging what this kid was saying. So what's that? Coincidence? You know, and speaking of which, you know, let's say that energy is, hypothetically speaking, that energy is transferable, right? And your soul, your essence, your spirit, it goes into something else. And it could be a cricket, it could be a human, a dog, or whatever, right? Based on that theory, when is the soul attached to you? So is it when you're born, when you physically come out of the womb? If so, is it when the legs are out, the head is out? What happens in a C-section? When do you acquire that soul? If it's at conception, because I know children demonstrate their own personalities in the womb. You know, I've seen that. Some are kickers. Some don't move hardly at all. You know, that kind of thing. Some respond to music. Some don't. Some respond different ways to certain music. So if the soul is a transferable thing, even if it's not, even if it's new, when your soul is acquired by your physical body, when does it happen? Does it happen at birth or at conception? I think that's an interesting question. So, you know, reincarnation, perhaps. Now, as I mentioned with Christianity, your soul, I think it's Dante's Inferno, the different levels of hell. How come he didn't write the different levels of heaven? Are there different levels of heaven? I know there's, oh man, what's the one in the middle? Limbo? Oh, it starts with a T, doesn't it? I'll remember it. But you die. In Christianity, you die. You go to the pearly gates. You're judged, and you're either permitted into heaven or gone to hell. Or is it purgatory? The maybe it's not a T, it's a P. Purgatory, the one in the middle where it's like, let's call it undecided. And you hang there, I guess, till further judgment, or maybe you can do some good stuff in purgatory and maybe get in. You know. So I've had glimpses of death. I grew up in New York City, in Harlem and the Bronx, and I ran around a little bit of Queens and definitely some of Brooklyn. I have seen death come to those in person, live and direct. Okay, I've seen it. I've seen them cross over. I've seen them take their last breath. And kids in war-torn areas have seen that too. So in New York, if you're an inner city kid, there's a likelihood that you will become quickly familiar with one's mortality. And you learn to digest it and live with it. And if you don't, then you have problems. Some bounce back, some don't. Some can handle stuff, some don't. But seeing death so early in my life and frequently, I just know it's inevitable. I knew that. You know that. Okay. The older you get, the more you know that. The closer you get, assuming you live a normal, full life, every tick of that clock is getting you closer and closer and closer. Now, if you have an accident, you know, like Kobe or the thousands of people that have accidents on a regular basis, I mean, it's cut short and it's unexpected. You know, if you're 95, you know it's coming. Okay. You know it's coming. Oh, rest in peace to, is it Kirk Douglas or Kirk Douglas' father? He lived to 103. You know, you think of like Tupac and Biggie. Cut short, right? the death. It's coming. So having been familiar with death and having been visited, yes, you heard me right, visited. Rest in peace, Kim. Kim was a girlfriend of mine when I was about 15 or 16. Still in high school. She was still in school. And me and my boy, Rob, he dated her younger sister, Tawana. And I dated the older sister, Kim. After Kim and I broke up shortly thereafter, my understanding is she was murdered by her next boyfriend. So this was in the probably the 80s. Let me see. Yeah. Late 70s, early 80s. Anyway, she came to visit me like 20 years later in the early 90s. Like, okay, 10, 15 years later, early 90s. And I remember this distinctly. It was 94, 95. So I had a 1-bedroom apartment in North Dallas. And small 1-bedroom apartment. I had a king-size bed, though, in that little 1-bedroom apartment. So I didn't have much room to move in my 1-bedroom, in my bedroom. And right to the left of me was a closet where the washer and dryer was. The window was pretty close to the right, but there was some room in front. I think I had a small desk in there or something. Anyway, I've always had pets. I had my cat. His name was Dusty. Rest in peace, Dusty. I miss that cat. I think Dusty has come to visit me too. But this was not as profound. What I'm sharing with you right now is my most profound visitation. And without any doubt, this was a visitation by Kim. Tell you how I know that. So, had a regular job, 9 to 5. I'm asleep. My cat used to sleep curled up in my arm every night. Dusty and I were close and cool. That was my man. That was my boy. A lot of friends of mine call me Dr. Doolittle. That'll be probably another podcast because I hear and can understand animals. Now listen, I don't hear them in English. Okay. However, I can communicate with them. They can communicate with me. And it's been that way since as long as I can remember. And so I'm asleep. Lights are out. I'm knocked out. Dusty's knocked out. I awaken to Dusty's claws digging into my arm. Okay. I am in pain. I wake up. Like what? Like sometimes if cats, they might shift or go get some water or something, or they might shift it and try to get on your head and you just, shoo them away. This wasn't that. This was immediately I knew something, what is going on? Because he dreams, cats, dogs, they dream. And, but no, this was, so I wake up, the lamp is right next to me. I turn on the lamp and Dusty is in that Halloween cat stance. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, his back is arched and humped up. His tail is straight up in the air. His eyes are wide and his hair is literally standing up on his body. Okay. Now, I don't know if the writers of The Sixth Sense, if this was a coincidence or how they knew this, but the room was unusually cold. First two things I noticed within the first 10 seconds of turning on the lamp was looking at my cat. And I'm like, it's cold. It was that cold that I noticed it was cold. So I told you I have a king size bed. Dusty is looking at something at the foot of my bed. Kind of not on the edge, but he's looking at something. And he's circling it and never taking his eyes off of it. Okay? He sees something. So I'm looking at the cat. He's paying me no mind. And then I smelled her. Now, when I tell you I smelled her perfume. Kim was in love with this one perfume. And she wore it all the time. This one perfume. And I I immediately knew it was her. Like, you ever see somebody, you just know it's them. You see them, hey, that's you. I knew this was her. And I felt her communicating with me that she missed me. All these thoughts start coming to me like, I miss you. I just wanted to say hi. I'm okay. This is a decade and a half later. This is years later. Years. I mean, out of the blue. It wasn't like I had been talking about her or thinking about her or anything like that. Okay. I'm smelling Kim's perfume. Rest in peace, Kim. Rest in peace. I'm smelling her perfume. The room's temperature has inexplicably gone down. The temperature has decreased. My cat wakes me up out of a dead sleep in a posture that says I'm alarmed. Okay. He's focused on a point, like a focal point. Okay. He's circling, he's looking, and it was her. It was her. Now, just thinking about that for a second, and any of you that have had any what people call paranormal experiences, I guess this would qualify as that, but an experience like that, and some people have seen apparitions, and maybe I could have seen her had I looked. I looked at the spot my cat was looking at. There was nothing ghostly there, no apparition, but that would mean that there was some type of energy form, right? There were solid substances all around me, a ceiling, a floor. I lived on the second floor. It was a floor, windows, walls, right? That would mean that that spirit, that soul, that energy would have had to travel from wherever. And I'm thinking in the physical realm, right? Maybe there are portals that are open. Maybe there are different ways that that transcend the physical. But it had to get in there. It had to get in my bedroom somehow. Excuse me, not it. Kim, had to get in my bedroom. And this entire episode lasted, I'd say, a solid 5 minutes. But I couldn't go back to sleep. I had to calm my cat down. I grabbed him and pet him because I knew when she left, because the temperature changed. My cat stopped looking at that spot. And he licked his lip. He was looking at me. I'm looking at him. But he calmed down. I didn't go back to sleep. And I was wore out at work the next day. So touching, moving, real experience. And I've thought about it ever since then. You know, not constantly, but I definitely have thought about it. You know, she visited me. Kim came to say hello to me. And we were definitely in love, but we broke up. We're teenagers. This is what teenagers do, right? And I will take the blame for that. And sometimes I even feel partially responsible for her death because she didn't want to break up. You know, girls are emotional creatures, women, females, and dudes were like on to the next, right? I'm thinking of conquest. There's another honey I want to get with, so I can't be with you no more. So, but she let me know she was all right. And she was cool with me, you know, and I'll love her for it. But death is real. Speaking of, you know, since we're talking about death, if you knew when you were going to die, even if it was just a day, or, you know, even was a day and time, would you want to know? Would you want to know the day you're going to die? I don't want to know. I don't want to know because I am an affectionate, loving, caring human being. And I have people in my life that I am going to miss, and they're going to miss me, and that the love is mutual and reciprocal. Of course, children. I love Earth. I love this life. I've had a good life, even with all the bad things. So to say goodbye to this, with this body, with this life, I just, thinking about it makes me sad a bit. Now, I'm not going to break down in tears or anything because, like I said a long time ago, I've accepted it. But, parting is such sweet sorrow is an old saying. And to say goodbye to people that you truly love and that people truly love you is heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking. So I know the remedy for that, though. The remedy is to cherish every second. And I do. And it's hard to do that without wallowing, but I do not take any second for granted. And I haven't. I've lived that way. When I love hard. I love completely. And appreciate even the people that I don't love per se. I think I love all humans generally. I think we all should love each other, but it'd be so great if we all loved each other, right? Even if we disagreed, but I know when that moment comes that there will be people that will mourn and grieve and feel that sadness, deep, profound sadness that once again only time can heal. But the remedy for knowing the inevitability of death lingers and waits for us is just to make the most of every moment. Hug the people you want to express love. Hug them often. Tell them you love them often. Treat them well often. I'll look at my child or my wife or, just the people, my mother, my sister, people that I love. And I just sometimes, I just look at them and in special moments, they're all special to me. This is all like an extended awesomeness. Now don't get me wrong. I'm human. Sometimes they piss me off. Ugh. Sometimes I want to choke the life out of my wife. I'm not even going to lie. Now, I've never laid my hands on her. I would never call out her name. I never would. That's just not me. I don't get down like that. You know what I'm saying? But, she frustrates me sometimes. But I enjoy even that. I know that might sound crazy. But just the interaction, I enjoy greatly. Death comes for all of us. If these words of mine, if this podcast blows up and becomes popular, there will be someone that will die immediately after hearing this. Well, maybe not immediately, but shortly thereafter. And that I'd have to become wildly popular, right? But as you listen to this, and as I speak these words, people are dying and people have died. I don't know if there's a way you can get it. Probably you can. I think it used to be part of the president's daily report, but they would say, how many births and how many deaths happened in America on that given day. And I might do a little research on that myself because I'd like to know if there's a website or somewhere that just says today or yesterday, I guess. Yesterday in America, 30,000 people died, 42,000 people were born. And see the balance. And I know that globally, the number has to be bigger in birth than death because the population keeps growing. And that means that more people are being born and living longer than that are dying. So on that transferable energy thing, though. Suppose there was a finite number of souls or energy. And maybe that's why some of these atrocities happen. They're born without souls. Or the soul had to be divided to meet that day's quota. So they got a third of a soul. Wouldn't that be something? If we found out that that was the case, there was a finite number of souls, and we've run out of souls. So when new souls become available through death, they have to be split up. And people are not whole. They're running around here with a quarter of a soul. That's something to think about. I wanted to share my thoughts on death. I always say there may be a part 2 because I think a lot. I think too much, actually. We are born to die. Some don't make it out the womb for a variety of reasons. Some don't last shortly out of the womb. Some get 100 years or more. In the Holy Bible, some humans live thousands of years. Would you want to live thousands of years? What about immortality? Would you want to be immortal? I don't know that I would. Unless everybody else could be immortal, right? Because I'd hate to be the only immortal and then everybody I love keeps dying. You wouldn't want to love anybody anymore. So, it's part of life. Death is. And there's nothing we can do about it. At this point, the way medical technology is going, who knows? That was my thoughts on death at this time. I'm Mike, and this has been Mike's Opinion. Stay alive!